Stephen. Call the ordinance meeting to order at 6:06. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag.
United States of America.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item number 3, public comment. Is there any public comment?
Yeah.
Well, state your name and address for the record, please.
Paul Wedowitz, 56 Davis Road. First of all, I'm glad I'm not on Route 8.
You glad you're not a what? I'm sorry?
I'm glad I'm not on Route 8,
Oh, yeah.
southbound. Just a comment about the firefighters ordinance. Gray Lowe's Company would like the opportunity, hopefully in the February meeting, to make some comments. They're going to be formulating that tonight. Now, what I like about this is, one, the younger members understand some stuff, and they're getting involved. They understand that they need to probably first go to the chief with their comments before they come here. They don't want to be in a mood where they fight, so they want to be positive. They're learning how to deal with the government, and I think this is very good. We always complain, well, I do, that younger generations have a tendency to not want to get involved with stuff. And what I'm seeing here is they are willing to try. Now, they understand that it may not make a difference, but what I love about this as a 50-plus member in emergency services being 70 is they're willing to try. When I was out campaigning, me and Laurie met several young couples, and they said they didn't vote. And I said, why? They don't want to get involved. I made some positive comments. For those who remember Frank Steuben used to make some comments at our public meetings, but he understood the issue that it was his right to make comments. People may disagree. So what I'm happy about is that, at least in this case, Gray Hill Lowe's Company as a group is willing to do that. Rather than being controversial, they're willing to make a very positive comments, and they understand that it may not change anything, but they're willing to do that. So I'm looking at this from the long term and saying, maybe these are our future chiefs, commissioners, elected officials. Finally getting to understand that just not complaining is going to change anything. So they, as a representative of Gray Hill, it would be nice if they were given the opportunity to express their comments in your February ordinance committee.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Is there any other public comment? Any other public comment? No further public comment. Okay. Discussion and possible action on the senior citizens. Let's go A, B, C, all the way down, okay? The senior citizens tax incentive, as you know, we have a couple of them out there now. As we talked about the last ordinance meeting, we're waiting to see if we can get with the state senator, Jason Perillo, and our state rep, because they're starting session in February, to see if they can bring legislation up for this.
The ordinance committee, this is a regular meeting of the ordinance committee.
Yes, sir.
We meet once a month.
Once, twice a month, depending on how many ordinances are that need to get passed and updated.
So on an as-needed basis.
Yes, sir.
So some of the comments you just made were the stuff we discussed in the last ordinance meeting, and then, so I was under the impression we'd have a month, and hopefully, that will get done. So we're still on hold, and then as we move forward, the ordinance will meet as needed, plus once a month.
Plus, we started a couple years ago by going through all our ordinance, sort of like what we did with the charter, revision, going through the charter. We started at one and went through the ordinances that way. And then, it was brought to our attention last year about the senior citizens tax incentives. About, the seniors are really hurting, right? So we have a couple of things, and the senior citizens, especially Mr. Grega, he came up with some ideas, 2%, 2%, 2%, as you heard last time.
Right.
But, so we're trying to beef up the ordinances that we have, trying to make sense of the ordinances that we have, and trying to get rid of ordinances that no longer exist in our town. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like with that one, the senior citizens tax incentive, that's really, we went through legal, they said we can't do our own thing, that's why we have to bring it up to the legislators, right, that was the whole.
Right, we want the legislators to make sure that, we have the Homestead Act, and that's 5% to 35%, but that's just not for the senior citizens, that's for everybody. And where do we draw the line, and how much do we give, and how much do we take off? So there's that, we have to come up with something. We don't have to come up with something, that would require us to come up with
Yeah,
something.
I mean, the state has a tax deferral one, which puts a lien on your house, and then you pay the lien at the sale of your home, so that's what the state of Connecticut has. And then another one, it was +8, it was for people over 80 years old or something, I forgot what the name of it was.
And then there's a circuit breaker one where
And
they
then
were
the circuit
giving us
breaker, right.
$50,000 a year, and then they stopped. They stopped funding it, but still want us to do it, so that's when we took and added 65,000, so it went from 50,000 to 65,000 for people that met that category. So there is tax reliefs in for people who meet a certain criteria.
Right.
On the board, right, on the record, right.
State of
right now.
Connecticut.
Right.
So, what further should we discuss on the senior citizen, tax incentive that doesn't say, hey, we're waiting for more information to come in?
There's really nothing, we're
From
just-
what we did last
I
meeting.
think it's just more, I would say it's more an update to the
Yeah.
residents of, this is what's happening, we have to go through our legislators to get something changed on the books.
Right, but
That's what I
but
would-
we were at that point last meeting, and then saying we're gonna
Were we at
have a
that?
correspondence with the legislature.
We were at that point last meeting, and then I was just asked again by a senior, where are we with it? And here's an update, we're live streaming our meetings tonight, it's updated, it's still sitting with our state legislator. We'd like to have the state make a ruling or make a law on this, put something in place for the seniors, because we cannot just go and make something
Right, so that's the
for them.
work we did last week.
Yep.
Pending on that, and you're just updating that, because we're live streaming now, and it's on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
We're just trying to keep it on the agenda, to keep it in the forefront, to keep our attention onto it. Make
Thank you
sense?
for my, yeah, I apologize for my,
No, it's good.
No.
It's clarity.
It's clear.
I'm trying to be clear. The best.
No, it's fine, it's clear. Why is it still on the agenda? Because we wanna make sure, and we wanna let the people know that it's still on our star front. We didn't push it to the back
Okay.
agenda, we're still looking at it. Okay?
Very good.
On there, the next one is the noise, and I'm thinking that this is a noise ordinance. We have one on the record, and there is a decibel reader. It goes into a big, here's the hours, here, this is the decibel, but we really think that we should push this, and I don't wanna say push it off, but bring this to the police department, because they're the ones that have to enforce this, and we can't tell them how to enforce it if they don't have the tools or the mechanisms to enforce this. So I'd rather make a suggestion that we bring this to the police department and have the chief and the deputy chief look at the ordinance and give us their input on it, than us trying to write the law for them.
Okay?
Does- You guys agree?
This way it's enforceable, because I think what happens now with the ordinance is that it's challenging to enforce. How do you?
It also goes with the noise level and timeframes are black and white, right? And how do people get action if they have a complaint? The police department is only responding to called-in complaints, and those are the two things. So they would have to witness the noise
Correct.
within that, over that level and that. So
It
that's
has
where
to
we
be
are right
occur-
now
it has to be
today.
occurring.
And we're asking the chief to come in and say, hey, what do you do, how did we do it, and how can we make it better?
Right.
Yes,
Okay,
okay. The next one on the list is the disabled veterans exemption. Now, this one, if you remember correctly, the state of Connecticut just upgraded the regulation to say it's no longer just the property, it includes the house as well. Correct, Attorney Petrula? Or did I get it backwards?
No, you have it correct. Up to 2 acres.
Up to 2 acres.
Primary residence, yes.
So, we have our new tax assessors in, we hired him in December. He's going through the grand list right now, so I think it was like a little over $30,000 in total for everything, for all the disabled vets, and that is, I think there's only like 9 or 10 of them, maybe a little bit more.
We can do an ordinance on this. I drafted up an ordinance on this.
You did?
Other municipalities,
You drafted it, could you have a copy of it that we could look at?
I can send it.
Okay, great.
And in
So
fact,
then we'll wait for that at the next meeting?
before you move on, so I can just explain what I'm doing, I will send you the veterans tax exempt ordinance, and there's a second ordinance that we prepared that is also a draft, dealing with what I'll call Gold Star widows.
Mhm.
So you can extend the tax exemption to a widow of a qualified veteran. You don't have to adopt it, you don't have to do it, the statute allows it. So I have an ordinance on each that I can send you, it's pretty generic enough, and you can take a look at it.
Was
Great.
that for another town?
It was for another town, another city.
I mean, why reinvent the wheel? We can look at it and see, and take it and apply to what fits to Seymour. All right, great. If you can send that, then I'll send it over to the ordinance committee, so that works. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. The next one was vehicle booting. Was brought to our attention about vehicle booting. Seymour has 17,000 people in it, and with the state looking to do away with car taxes over the next 5 years, why would we be going to vehicle booting? We're a small town.
I don't see it.
I'm not aware of a town your size that does this. This is usually something that's done in the larger cities. I don't even know this being done in, like, what I'll call some major, municipalities that have populations around 50,000,
There's a lot to it, it's not just the
60,000.
booting,
Right.
right?
I'm trying to think
You
about
gotta manage it, you gotta go, yeah,
I
there's
think
a
the
whole
only
process.
one that I saw, I don't even wanna swear to it, but I think, like, I don't believe Milford does it, Stratford doesn't do it, I don't think Fairfield does it, those are larger towns, all of those are 50-something thousand to 60,000 people, and none of them do. I'm not aware of smaller communities doing it.
No.
I think New Haven did it at one time.
Now, somebody brought this as a recommendation.
I
Yes,
believe
so-
the city of Bridgeport does the booting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but what happens is when somebody has an idea for an ordinance, they bring it to the board of select person, the board of select persons brings it to this committee, and then we have to yay or nay it.
So the vehicle booting came from a citizen of Seymour for us to take a look at as an ordinance?
It came from somebody for us to look at.
And then
yes.
when they presented the idea of booting, were they pro booting or not booting, or they're saying, hey, take a look at booting because it might be helpful for the town? or
That's what
the-
they were, it was a pro, hey, take a look at this, maybe it can help us with the town
Okay.
and collecting back taxes on cars. But, what we're seeing more in Seymour is of cars that are registered out of state than we are seeing registered in state. You know what I mean? So that's what we have to look at, that's why
That
it's
would be a completely different subject, right?
totally subject,
Okay.
different subject. And there's actually, the state of Connecticut says that once you have established residency here in the state of Connecticut, you have 30 days to register your car in the state of Connecticut. And if you're not here within, 49, you have to be here 51 days, or not here, it's like half of the year there, half of the year here.
A lot of New York's plates still on the road.
A lot of New York plates, what is it? 6 months in a day, out of state, or 6 months in a day here. Thank you.
This is very familiar to me.
When they
Boot-
put the boot on the
Your
tire,
tires so your car doesn't
those
move.
big lock boots, yeah. But there's a whole process that comes with the cops got on lot, there's a lot.
You're not, you don't wanna. No.
So can I have a motion on this?
For,
Yeah, I
Do I?
recommend that we do not, have a vehicle booting ordinance on our books.
Motion by Bob,
I'm sorry. The motion is what, to take
To
the
not
booting
have
off altogether?
Yeah,
No further looking into it?
correct.
Council recommends that he knows of no other municipalities of our size or even larger that are engaged in it?
No, I do know of larger ones that have done it. I don't know if they're currently doing it.
Okay.
I know at one time you hated did it. I don't even know if, I don't think Bridgeport did it. I don't think that was what Bridgeport was doing.
I don't think so. I don't know.
And,
Can you look that up?
I know of, like, what I'm calling, like, the next tier of municipalities, those that are after the major cities, the larger towns, like, or cities in that 50 to 60,000 population. I don't think they were doing it either.
I was gonna say, it's still a good sized town and they're probably not gonna.
The only reason why I bring it up that way is because if somebody from Seymour brought it up, it might be a good idea or whatever, that this discussion would be what all we're giving back to them. Did we do enough, or look into it enough? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you could
That's-
argue that point. We could put together a document that would state how many people it would impact, the amount of process that it takes to
Correct.
do the booting.
Yeah, and the draw wouldn't be as lucrative as the effort put forth.
Right.
Juice worth squeeze.
So then I would, if we could do that, at least we could say, we heard you, we've done this, and we made a motion that, we're not interested right now.
Correct.
That's the only reason holding me back from seconding the motion. I don't disagree with the motion.
We document that we looked at it. We document that we said that, there's not, I mean, right now, it takes, we know that we're gonna get our taxes within every 3 years, but speaking to Dana, there's not really a lot of, there's more on the property list than there is on the car list.
Right.
And there's more cars registered out of state than there are cars that have back taxes.
I'd rather chase the cars that are registered out of state. Than the register.
What say you?
I'll second.
Second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 3-0-0. Okay. The next one is the firefighters. We heard Commissioner Wadowitz come up here, ask us, Great Hill Hose is asking, hi Trish. Great Hill Hose is asking for us to come back. They would like to come to us in February after they held their discussions to talk about it and bring to us their suggestions in February.
I fully agree with that. I have a couple questions, and currently, with respect to February's meeting and listening to Great Hills people come and talk, I would like to request that the fire commissioner come and give us a report on how, what, and where because I don't understand fully, and I apologize because I'm trying my best to catch up, that the fire chief is putting in a request for ordinance or ordinance changes. Is that the way they do business? They do everything, all the business through ordinance?
And so let me, if you want to ask all your questions and then have me answer, you want me to answer them as you go?
I think maybe we should do this as I go, because I
Okay,
don't want to.
so anybody can put an ordinance in. Joe Blow from Chisconessie
I
can
understand
put an
that.
ordinance in.
I understand.
So he put so Chris Edwards,
Yeah.
had put the ordinances, and as you heard from, Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Calzone, who else was here? Commissioner Kehoe was here.
Matt was here too.
You were here, but you weren't a commissioner. Kehoe was here, you were here, Miller was here, Calzone was here. The 5 of you were here.
Gary Parker Savage was not a
'Cause
commissioner at that time, so.
correct. All right, so there was 4, right? They all said that they had talked about this, and they were having a commissioner meeting this past Monday that had happened. So they were going to talk about it at their meeting. Commissioner Kehoe stood up and said that they had talked about this, he had the documentation, but he didn't bring it. So they were going to talk about it on Monday. Correct, Commissioner Wadowitz? So I had a Board of Ed meeting at 7 o'clock. Their meeting was at 7 o'clock. I had called at 7:30, and their meeting was over already. It was not
But
discussed.
it was requested of them all year last year. Like, I don't want to say all year, but for quite a period last year,
Okay.
if I am
I
accurate.
tried to get input.
I understand that. The reason why I bring it up, and I'm gonna preclude this by saying that I'm not laying out my opinion either way. Okay. But for inception of the fire department, this is the way things have been done. And then out of frustration, this is what I'm hearing from only one meeting, right? From last time's meeting. And from frustration of not doing things in the proper order, regardless of whoever's not carrying their weight in the situation, right off the bat, it seems, and I'm not saying that the ordinances that are being put forth, good, bad, or ugly at this point, but what I'm sensing is, without listening to that side, it seems that the person putting these particular ordinances will be directly affected by these ordinances. If there's a process that goes, it seems like that we're circumventing a process, it feels like we're circumventing a process. If that's the case, then before I make a decision, I'd like to hear how the process is supposed to go or has gone historically. And if somebody's dropping the ball, fix that problem also. Do you understand?
You want to take this one? Let me take this one first. So, got it. So there is no circumventing any order. The commissioners don't have say over the fire department operations. They have say over the budgets, and they have say over the buildings. The fire chief, what he put forth was operations of what he's in charge of. The commissioners have no say in the operation of the fire officers. They pick the fire chiefs, and they run the budget, and they run the buildings. That is what they're in charge of, per the town charter, going through the town charter. There is no set example, there is no set protocol or proper order as to he has to go through. That could be a common courtesy, but according to the 3 other chiefs, that was brought up. And according to the chiefs and according to the commissioners, that was brought up at meetings before, and it was not discussed. It was pushed off. That is what I got out of it. So he did bring it to them, and they didn't do anything about it. And they didn't do anything about it until after he submitted the letter.
Right, but moving on the requested ordinance changes from the person that it directly benefits the most from, seems to me, I haven't read it cover to cover, or I don't understand it cover to cover.
I just saw it in your packet. Where is it? The ordinance. Let me see.
No, I understand the
No,
ordinance.
no, let me see, please. Thank you.
Phil, I just want to intervene and say why I understand what you're saying, but I disagree, and this is why I disagree. I am all for how we operate here on the Board of Selectmen, because I like to work as a team, and we have people who know more than we do sitting here, and we try to have, we're elected, but it's usually nice when we all have a different background that we bring to the table,
right.
so we can pull from each other, right? I don't care what party you are, like, that's a great team. What we do here, it's the committee, the ordinance committee, which is a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen, is responsible for the ordinances. And what we do here is put it forth to the proper folks to say, hey, we want your feedback, please work on this because we know that there's improvements. So, and I think you and I were both, I think most of us were pretty vocal at the last meeting
Yeah, absolutely.
that this kind of got aired out here, rather than them meeting all year when it was requested that we want their feedback. So I'm kind of done with that, and I'm ready to move forward with what was recommended, because if they could spend more than, if I understand you correctly right now, you were in a meeting, and I just
I
want
was
to make
at-
sure I understand.
I was at the Board of
budget.
Ed meeting at 7 o'clock. I got it at 7:30. I called the commissioner. He says, oh, our meeting is already done at 7:30. And in that meeting, I looked at their list and it looked like a pretty long meeting. They had SOGs, they had budgets, and they had this. Now, mind you, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Mind you, they knew in September, this ordinance was put in front of the ordinance committee in September by Chris. So here it is January and they still haven't talked about it. And then granted, they didn't have a December meeting, but you had your October meeting, you had your November meeting. And you could have talked about it in your January meeting. I understand what you're saying, but everything in this bylaws is for the fire chief. The fire chief runs the department. They are $1 million vehicles that he's in charge of, plus our assets are our volunteer fire department and our bigger assets, which are our residents. Okay? So if our commissioners, my own opinion, if I have 3 out of the 4 commissioners standing here and telling me we tried to talk about it and it kept getting pushed off. Oh, Pete Sampieri wasn't there. That was the other commissioner that wasn't there. So there's 3 plus Paul plus Pete wasn't here. Then to me, that's not a high priority to you. And you were just at our meeting on that Tuesday. You had your meeting on that Monday. If this wasn't if you could come and air your dirty laundry at an ordinance meeting, and you couldn't take that time on that Monday meeting to discuss it, and I understand wanting to get Great Hill host feedback. Well, what about citizens' feedback?
I'd like
It's
to get
the-
their,
and this is where I have a problem. It is the Seymour Fire Department. It's not Great Hill Host Fire Department. It's Great Hill Host Incorporated, who runs one of the houses. It is Citizens Engine Company number 2, which is one of the companies. But these are Seymour Fire Department ordinances.
I
These
understand.
are not Great Hill Hose ordinances
Right.
or citizens. And all his ordinance go by the bylaws to make sure the bylaws do not overtake any chief's rank. If a chief takes a firefighter out of service because of something they did or something they didn't do, then it's for reason, right? And they want to make sure that the Great Hill Hose Incorporated, whether an associate member or fire police or retired person, that the bylaws are the same. The qualifications of volunteers. He wants to make sure that we have enough members during the day to fight fires and open it up to anybody in the town of Seymour, whether you work in Seymour, live in Seymour, and you have the proper certification of firefighter 1, right? You're certified by the state as a firefighter. You can drive trucks to get to a fire because we're not getting the fire trucks out during the day. So that was the other one for the volunteer fire department. The other one was officer members. I know in speaking to the chair, he has a problem with the chiefs being 3 years. He only wants to keep it 1, maybe 2 at best. He has a problem with 3 years, but yet our commissioners have 3 years terms, and some of them have been in there for 16 years. So he didn't have a problem with that. I'm just going through this,
no, I understand.
right?
But if I can just finish what
Go
I
ahead,
was
sorry.
saying, we're responsible for that and don't need to technically bring in anybody else if we don't want to, but in the spirit of and understanding other people have more knowledge than we do on some things, we ask for feedback and want to gather that. And while I have great respect for every volunteer fireman in town and elsewhere, we wanted to get this done last year and nothing was done. And if you recall, when I did speak up that night, I said, well, what I'm going to suggest you do is meet, get together, and at the next ordinance committee, come back prepared. Because that night was just a lot of back and forth.
And I backed you up on that, and I was
Yep.
vocal about the same exact point.
Right, so,
My
but
point
here's
right
the
now
thing
is
is they
different.
spent more time in front of us hashing that out. And we gave a directive to come back prepared at the next meeting, which is tonight. And they met for less time to review, not just that, I didn't realize it was other items, but
Their
not just
budget,
that, but many
SOGs, yeah.
items. And decided, well, we'll just tell them we're gonna push it back more. I'm not for doing that, especially understanding that the fire department, it's the fire company, it's the fire department from Seymour, and then
Yes.
they each have their own house
I
that they
understand
run.
that.
So,
But to
I
your
don't wanna
point,
push
to your
it forward.
point, and you brought up words like responsibility and getting the job done and that. Right now, from what happened 2 weeks ago, and the input that I've gotten, and as much as I could read, I'm not the fastest reader in the world, and have to go over all the ordinances, I have to go through the town charter, I wanna look at the charters from citizens and from Great Hill.
They don't have a charter, they have bylaws.
I mean, their bylaws.
And you won't get them, because those are incorporated bylaws, that's for the company, the town doesn't have access to those.
Okay. But to make a decision with there's some kind of opposition to it and not being up to speed, I'm reluctant on saying that I'm making a responsible decision as presented with, I mean, if we're going to bring
You
in.
know where we made the mistake last time though, and I didn't get this till toward the end of the ordinance meeting, is I thought it was more like 50-50. I don't think you heard me, because I mumbled under my breath that night and said, I thought it was more like one person out of everybody.
Paul?
There was a comment made, and it's in the meeting minutes, that you said about the February meeting,
Yes,
the February ordinance.
right.
But you guys didn't even bother to talk about it at your last meeting, correct?
I
Hold on, come to the speaker, please.
Oh, sorry.
Because now you're gonna, I said February, right?
Yes, it-
But, did you guys have an ordinance meeting? Did you guys have a fire commissioners meeting?
Not yet, no.
You didn't have a fire commissioners meeting on Monday?
I'm sorry, yes. Yes, we did. I made the motion to add it to the agenda.
What happened?
It was a little quiet for a while. Pat Kiro made the second motion. I initiated the discussion that we should, as a group, commission should have an opinion. Let's just say I was hoping there'd be more discussion. That didn't occur.
So it doesn't
Well, what
seem
was
to
the
be that important.
Yeah, what was the outcome?
There was no outcome. I did suggest we have a special meeting. One of the commissioners made a comment about waiting until after Great Hill hosts input.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
So
Now,
then we're gonna table this to the February meeting, and I'm going to advise you as a commissioner. You guys better have your stuff ready,
got it.
because this has been going on since September.
Totally understand.
September.
Totally understand.
And you guys couldn't find time, and I know you were not on the commissioner meeting then, so you couldn't find time for it, so it must not have been that important for you guys, but now it's important. Got it.
Again, having just be appointed,
I
I
understand.
can do my best.
Does the fire commission have oversight responsibilities to the fire chief?
They picked the fire chief.
Okay. The picking of the fire chief right now, as of today, happens annually,
Annually.
right? And that being done that way allows any kind of input, positive as much as negative, to go to the commission and say, hey, we're gonna reappoint the same one, or we're gonna look for a new one, right? That's
No, you have to
basically-
apply,
You have to apply.
yeah.
But the commission still looks at the applicants in front of them.
So funny you should mention that. Because I mentioned that at the meeting, if
Yeah.
you go back in the minutes, I meant that. They had 10 years ago maybe, Scott, they had put in requirements to be a fire chief. You had to meet, that was a long time ago. Right, so that was a long time ago. They had put in requirements. In order to be a fire chief,
Yes.
you're in charge of these firefighters. You have to have bing, bang, boom, right?
Right.
A, B, C, D, right? So when I said, well, you put in these requirements to be fire chief, and it was, I said, are those requirements or are they suggestions? And it was their suggestion.
Nah,
No,
there's supposed to be requirements.
Oh, yes,
well,
they're
but
supposed
we
to.
were told they were suggestions.
They were suggestions.
For
No, I
sure.
understand. I was here.
Okay.
The point is this. There's one thing that says, hey, this is presented to us, and then it opens up a door in one meeting that there's a bigger problem. There's some processes.
Oh,
and
there's a big
some
problem, yeah.
bigger problem. So if we act right now with my limited amount of knowledge that I have about the situation, you guys are ahead of me because you've been dealing with it for so long, and I'm sorry for that. But
So you haven't been following along?
as much as I can.
Before you wanted to become a select person, you didn't follow along?
you wanna arm wrestle. The point being
Yes, I
that
do.
if you put it, to me, this seems like a Band-Aid on the bigger problem, that's all I'm gonna say.
We'll wait until February then.
I think if we
I
said
don't have a problem.
February,
But I would like
I
to make
didn't
a
recall
motion
that
that
detail, but that's
that-
fine.
that
We don't have
the-
to make a motion, we can just say we'll push, when we go.
No, then I'd like to get Great Hills input, citizens input, and the commission's input. If there's a problem that says, hey, somebody's not doing their job, then we should be saying, well, where's the disconnect? Who's not doing their job? That person's gotta do their job. Because whether it's 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, or in these other situations, we could be sitting here doing this again and
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But if the problems is with the fire chiefs, and that's with the commissioners, if the problem is with the commissioners, that's not our problem, that's the firehouse's problem, because we only pick 2 commissioners and they pick the other 2.
no, I understand that.
What we need to remember here, though, is we're looking at Seymour's fire department, right? Which is different from the companies. So we want to make sure whatever decision we're making is for the benefit of the department and the long-term success of the department, regardless of who puts what forth. I don't care if it's a commissioner's suggestion
Right.
or the chief's
I understand.
suggestion. That's the goal.
Our job is to do the best for the people of the town of Seymour, keep them safe and keep everything running properly for what they pay for,
As a
what they
department,
deserve.
the
That's our-
houses are
that's our
separate,
job.
right.
If I'm getting problems from the process or whatever's going on with Seymour Fire Department and the 2 houses, I don't wanna go through this again. So if there's a problem up the line, I'd like to get to the root of the problem, than just say, listen, at this point, because I have limited experience of this particular situation. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine, we can table this to the February 3rd, 2026.
Just for
ordinance
clarity,
meeting.
and the fire chief falls under our human resource department, correct?
He's a paid employee, so
He's a paid employee, right?
stipend,
Okay. So if
The
something.
fire chief is a paid position?
Stipend.
They receive stipends.
It's even stipend.
Trish, you made the most important comment. Long term. That's what I'm looking at. Long term. Not short term.
So,
We're gonna table it, but I'm saying, can we
No, I agree.
request that the fire commission and the 2 houses, the fire chief are here to report so that when we make a decision, or I have to cast a vote, I at least got 70% of the background.
I agree with that, and, the chief was here the last time, and, we asked the chief and the commissioners to come back in September when this was on the agenda, October when it was on the agenda, and I agree, we'll table, I said February, and we'll talk about it February, there was no actions on this, I was just hoping that when they had their meeting last Monday, as big as a showing as it was for them, they would at least made this be important to them.
I agree. I understand wholeheartedly.
yeah, I, as much as, we all know I love the firemen, the fire department, the houses, like everyone who volunteers, but it's very frustrating to me to hear everything for as long as we did and find out that the meeting was so short, because it just, it doesn't
That's the
match.
frustrating part for me.
Well, then let's
The importance doesn't
legislate that
match.
frustration right out of you.
Oh, I
let's
think
do
I
the
said it
work
last
and
meeting,
get
and
that
I think we'll
frustration
start
done.
off the next one when everyone's here with that as
Yeah.
well, so,
Okay.
no
All
worries.
right, so we'll move that one to February 3rd. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, we weren't making action on it tonight anyways, but it's just the
I'm trying.
point. I understand. It's, again, I'm gonna send it home with you. It's the point. If it was a big deal with them, then they should have discussed it at their meeting.
Do we have to make a motion to request them, or will you just do it through
No.
Mr. Share?
I'm not gonna request them. If it's a big point for them to come, if it's a big matter for them to come, they're asking us to wait until February. I'm waiting until February, they better show up. We'll let them know that we're gonna have the ordinance as we publicize it all the time. Public meeting, we'll let them know. I have a commissioner here. He'll make sure they let them know. We have a Great Hill Hose Fire Chief, Police Officer here. Dave Bitzel. I'm sure when he goes to their meeting, he'll let them know as well.
Commissioner, not officer, commissioner.
You're fire,
Oh, fire, I'm sorry, fire police.
fire police. I know you're police commissioner,
No,
but
said-
you're with the
said fireman, I'm not a fireman.
fire police. Sorry.
Can I say something?
No. Oh, yeah, you could have. Sorry, there. I said, did you say something wrong? Sorry.
Go, Dave.
Dave Bitzel, One Meadowwoods Road. I attend every single meeting up at Gray Hill, and this didn't get brought to the members until maybe a month and a half ago at a meeting. So I'm just, for the record, it hasn't been going on with the members. The members are meeting tonight before the regular meeting to discuss this and prepare a response to the committee, just so you know. And I was on my way there until I called Paul to see if he was going, because I didn't know about this ordinance meeting tonight. I thought the next one, excuse me, I thought the next one was February.
We have ordinance meetings before our board of select
Yeah,
persons
so I
meeting.
didn't know it was every 2 weeks, so, but anyways, that's all I want to say.
Thank you. And shame on the commissioners for not bringing it to the houses to talk about it. They have 2 of them. All right, non-resident landlords is the next one.
They should have the same responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, the same responsibilities as resident landlords. It shouldn't be any different.
If not more.
So I don't think what is the feeling we don't need a special ordinance for that?
I don't recommend that. I agree with what Chris said. When
Okay.
you start drawing lines like that, you start creating what they call equal protection claims.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we should draw a line based on the residency of the landlord.
Okay, great.
Treat everyone
I
the
agree
same.
totally.
Okay.
I agree totally.
Right,
I was a
absolutely.
resident at the time, I wasn't a resident at the time.
Yeah,
Get
I
into
agree.
that, right?
Okay. So we can take that off. Okay, great. And then public comment. Is there any public comment for number 5? Public comment going twice. Public comment going 3 times. No public comment. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:47. Thank you.